Hi, you guys. This is Coach Ebony Nicole, the writing coach and publishing engineer. I just wanted to share with you something that many of you probably don't know, but I am also an author. 10 times over, that is. And one of the things I want to share today is my book, my very first book, Eve's Confession Songs of a Lustful Soul. This book I had written back in 2010 and published it in 2012 after spending quite a bit of time to learn how to effectively publish. So, what I want to do is read one chapter out of my book for you today. This chapter is titled Chris Brown Fatal Attraction, and it reads as: Darkness held me close to itself. We descended into an abyss of emptiness. For however long a time it actually was, nothing compared to the feeling of eternity. The place where light was void began to release me. As I came to, I heard a muffled beeping sound. She will be okay. Don't worry. I knew that voice. I tried to turn my head, but couldn't. There was something tight yet soft gripped around it. The voice let out a deep, low laugh. No, you don't need to come up here. I tried to open my eyes. They felt so heavy. Yes, yes, as soon as she wakes up. It was my king's voice, but I couldn't see him. I tried to adjust my eyes to the light. He said, I called the school. They know you and Howard will be coming to get the children. Whoever goes in just needs to show an ID. I felt so confused. Where was I? This couldn't be death. Linda, she's fine. It was another panic attack. He laughed again. As soon as she wakes up, I will tell her to call you. I promise. Okay? What happened to me? I thought if my neck wouldn't move, then nothing else would. This couldn't be my life. Not like this. I wiggled my toes and tried to move my legs, but they wouldn't do as I commanded of them. I heard him say, Okay, I will. I heard him continue his conversation with my mother. I was able to move my pointer finger, but nothing else. I love you too. Bye. I heard him sit the phone down, exhaled deeply, and whispered, Please. I was able to move my pointer finger, but nothing else. What was going on? If moving other parts of my body was hard and easy, I could only imagine speaking. So I tried. All that I could get out was, Shh. Don't move, sweetheart. I'm right here. I'm going to get the doctor, okay? Before I could answer him, he left me. He returned seconds later with the nurse. After being examined by the doctor, who explained, You were thrashing all around when you were brought in by the ambulance. We were worried you were having a seizure. Shamar added, You've been out for over an hour. But it was a bad episode this time. He told me why and how I had passed out. While on the floor, I started screaming and crying. The same officers that were at my office were now at his to collect the items. The clipping read, and then there was one. The black doll was of a man whose face was a picture of Shamar, just as the dolls of Jay and CJ. The only difference was there was a piece of a stick that mimicked a knife in the chest. There was also a plastic dog with a missing head. Poor Beans. You're cleared to leave. I just suggest taking it easy for the next few days. What I'm going to also do is give you some medication. It should help you out. I got dressed so we could leave. I was eager to get home and see my babies. On our way home, we stopped to Rite Aid by Strong Hospital to have my prescription filled. They said it would take about an hour, so Shamar and I waited in the parking lot. As we did, I looked around out the window and said, I'm hungry. Where can we get something to eat? He answered, I think McDonald's is up the street. Do you want to go there? Yeah. Can we go now? He nodded his head and backed out of the parking space. He drove toward the exit when a black car turned into the parking lot and almost caused a head-on collision. Shamar backed up out of the park to give the car room to pull in, but instead of it moving past us to park, it headed straight for us. He honked the horn, which made the driver stop and reverse the car. Shamar tried to go around it, except it swerved towards us. The windows were dark and I couldn't make anyone out. There were at least two people in the car from the decals. There were at least two people in the car, and the decals were missing. There was a thick cloud of smoke that came out of the driver's side window and the back passenger side window. Shamar laid on the horn again and then stopped when the front door opened and two guys with long dreads stepped out holding what appeared to be a sawed-off shotgun and a semi-automatic gun. My heart began to race. Shamar told me to keep calm, and then the back passenger door opened and out walked Will. He looked different, but I knew it was him. His shoulder-length dreads had grown down to his waist, and he had a full beard braided into 3 long braids. He extended his hand back toward the open car door to help someone out. I grabbed a hold of Shamar's hand as CJ stepped out of the car and stood in front of him. Then Will leaned in the car and came back up with Jay in his arms, sucking on a lollipop. Shamar breathed deeply with fear as I screamed out for my babies. Will, what are you doing? Oh my God, please do not hurt them, Will. A tall, dark-skinned woman stepped out of the same door Will and my children had. Her face seemed familiar, but I couldn't recall from where. She took Jay from Will and took CJ's hand and put them back in the car. What do you want, Will? What do you want? I cried and screamed. It felt like my heart was about to leap out of my chest, sit on the dashboard, and look out the window. He puffed on a cigar and blew the smoke into the air. His long dreads swayed back and forth behind him as he stood at the front of the car looking at both of us. Enjoying another pull of the cigar, he strutted to my side, leaned into the window, and released the fumes in my face. Will, what do you want? Please, do not do this. Give me back my babies, I pleaded. Your babies, huh? Don't worry, I will take care of them. I told you. I wanted to have kids and be with you. But you. Damn. He nodded his head towards my husband. Instead of me, you chose him. So if he is what you want, then he is what you will have. Too bad you won't have long. Will reached his hand into the car, taking mine into his. I snatched my hand away, which pissed him off. His reflexes were quick. Before I had time to block him, he grabbed me around my neck. Shamar lunged at him, but frozen from the sound of a click coming from the left of him. Sit back. The guy holding the shotgun drove it deep into his neck and added, give me a reason. Shamar sat back in his seat staring at the gunman. Look at this punk, about to cry. The man teased my husband. I assumed the tears were from the pain he felt from the barrel of the assault rifle. Tisk, tisk, tisk. And you call him your husband. He can't even protect you and my kids. Look at him. He will forcibly turn my head towards Shamar. I would give my life for you, Eve. I wouldn't cry like him. A lonely tear fell from Shamar's eyes. He removed his hand to mine, locking them together. He must have known our end was upon us. For all that I could lose, I never thought it would be my life, nor my husband's. I thought I knew what I was doing by dealing with Will. I saw then I was wrong. My transgressions caused our children to be orphans. My lack of care for my safety and that of my family led us into this predicament we will never get out of. Will, he tightened his grip around my throat. My head was pinned to the headrest as the pressure from his grasp started to mount. I clawed at his hand. Please, was all I could whisper. Please what, Eve? Isn't this what you wanted? You wanted us to end, right? I could just leave you alone, huh? I guess that fatal attraction shit is real. He stroked the side of my face, then leaned into the car and kissed my cheek. His lips and breath left a wet and wretched tobacco smell. I love you, Eve. He released me from the grip and backed away from the car. I held my throat, grasping for air. I glanced up at him, wiped my cheek, looking him square in his eyes. He smirked and nodded his head at the two goons on either side of us. I quickly mustered up the strength to yell, Will, please don't do this. He said nothing, walked back to the car, and got in. I heard a click to my left and turned as a gunshot put a hole in the middle of Shamar's chest. He saw it coming too. His insides opened and leaked out fast. Parts of him that landed on my face and body did the same. I screamed, but was silenced by an ear-splitting pop in my head. That is a chapter out of my book, Eve's Confession, Eve's Confession, Songs of a Lustful Soul. It's never too late to write. It's never too early to read. But at one point, it will become too late to write and too late to read. I am Ebony Nicole, the author. If you would like a copy of my book, you can head over to my website, ebonynicolesmith.com, and you can order a signed copy and it'll be shipped out to you right away. Thank you.